Hi, guys. Welcome back to Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. I am your host, Savannah Sharp. This is my weekly podcast where I give amateurs a platform to speak their truth. And I also just want to give everyone a place to share their fitness journey. This is a safe place here on Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. So we like to go over fitness journeys. So I do have a special guest. This is Miss Janie Chow. So during this episode, we are going to talk about her competition experience. So coming from me, a kind of like I call myself a pro amateur. Like I'm a pro at being an amateur because I've been one since 2017. But a newbie novice competitor, Janie. So we talk about her first competition. She just recently did her first show. We talk about her mindset, how she got into the sport, how she found her coach. We talk about pushing through on hard days and just kind of advice for other first time competitors that may be looking to start a journey that just don't know where to start. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear this episode. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. And a few more housekeeping things. Don't forget new episodes every single Wednesday. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, screenshot it, tag me at Savannah Sharp Fitness. And also just let us know that you're loving this episode. Don't forget to review. And we do have an Instagram as well. So it's at Cupcakes Protein Shakes is where I'll be posting some of our episode details on Instagram. And in this episode, if you're not on YouTube, you can head over to YouTube. I have recorded it. So if you want to watch us talk and chat, this is going to be another episode called Bikini Girl Chit Chat, where I chit chat with other bikini competitors about bikini things. So sit back, relax, and let's get started with this week's episode of Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. Love you guys. Hey guys, welcome back to Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. I'm your host, Savannah. So I have a special guest. This is, do you want to introduce yourself? So tell me your name, tell me your Instagram handle, how old you are, and then we'll kind of jump in from there.
Okay. My name's Janie Chow. I am 23 years old. I am an NPC amateur bikini athlete, I guess you could say. Can find me on Instagram at no_plane with an E_Jane. If you want to check me out. Don't have a whole lot of my bikini stuff on there, but I'm trying to slowly incorporate everything because people keep asking me ever since I've been getting involved in the NPC universe, I guess, to post more stuff. So I'm going to try to keep that up.
Yes, please keep us as updated as possible. So I'm bringing you on here because I want to give amateurs a platform to share their story because I'm still an amateur, you're an amateur, and we have stories. So I want to figure out how you got into the industry and when was the first time that you heard about bodybuilding?
So the first time I ever heard about bodybuilding, it was probably in high school. The trainer that I had at the time had done, a couple of shows. Her partner, who is actually my coach now, his name's Josh Mosner, through Team Shape. He was actually very heavily involved in himself bodybuilding, and then he also trained figure competitors and bikini athletes. So I had heard from it through him and through my trainer, that I hadn't really, said, "Oh, I want to do that." And then flash forward, what is it, 5, 6 years, and Josh Mosner, who's my trainer now, was training me, and he said, "You know what? I think you'd be really good for this sport." And I said, "No, not me. I just, want to look cute, hot girl summer.
Yeah.
We just want to lift weights and look cute." He's like, "I'm telling you, you'd be good at this. You have just the natural frame and figure that serves as a good foundation." I was like, "No, no, not me, not me." And he was very persistent. He kept reminding me about it and said, "Hey, putting it in my mind." I was like, "You know what? Maybe I want to do this." And that's when COVID happened.
Okay, so you
So
started your
that kind of put
journey.
everything on hold.
You started your journey like during COVID for your entire fitness journey.
Oh, like fitness journey? No, fitness journey has been
Okay.
like an off and on kind of thing through college.
Okay.
Um, not super into it, but I always enjoyed, working out at the gym with friends or by myself. I always enjoyed fitness classes. I never considered myself an athlete. I was always involved in arts and stage. I liked doing theater in high school, never considered an athletic person, but I still, went to the gym here and there. But I never really considered myself, a fitness person per se. Maybe so more fitness inclined than other classmates in college specifically, because my friends are like, "No, let's go and do this." And I was like, "Well, no, let's go to, Zumba first, and then we can go and get Steak and Shake after."
Right. So
I'm that friend.
when you first talked about and your coach was trying to push you into getting to the sport, you originally said, not me. So what do you think was your initial thoughts? Like, why didn't you think you said something like, why don't you think that you could do it at the beginning?
I didn't think, that was, what I wanted to do. It's they looked so tiny. They looked like, they starved and hated themselves.
Yeah.
It's a whole it's I didn't wanna walk around in that itty bitty swimsuit, with everybody gawking, and I was just it was very intimidating, which, I mean, everybody, I think, feels that way before they decide to go into it. The commitment it takes to get into it, and you don't even know before, even when you say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this," how much of a commitment it is
Right.
until you actually are doing it, And so I convinced myself, he convinced me, and I was like, "Okay, well, what's it gonna" it was a very little by little process. It's like, "Okay, well, what would I need to do to start to get there?" And I took it very piece by piece. It wasn't like "Oh, I'm gonna do it now." It was a very like, maybe. Well, what
Yeah.
do I need to do maybe to get there?"
Yeah. So you kind of had to get pushed into that direction. Looking back now, are you glad that you did it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's brought this whole new perspective on how I understand myself, not just as, my working out and my nutrition, but just how I motivate myself and how I understand being goal oriented. It kind of brings it all together.
So what is your goal in the sport?
The goal in the sport right now, I just want to get through the rest of my shows. I have two more shows planned this year, and then I'll probably take the improvement season the rest of the year. I really want to get to a national stage though. But I understand, this is just my first season,
Yeah.
and I need to do a lot more work during the off season to get to that point. So short term goal, I want to, well, short term, I want to get to the point where I can get on a national stage and, be competitive.
So how many shows have you done so far?
I have done one show, and
Okay. I,
yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. But I think your insight is so valuable because um I still consider myself an amateur, but like I've been doing it since 2017, kind of started training 2016.
Mhm.
So I kind of forget that those like new feelings. So could you kind of walk me through like your first prep and like what is going through your mind and maybe some advice for people that are in the middle of their new prep or if they're thinking about competing and they want to compete? Like, what
Right.
would you tell these people now, having done one show like recently? Here's what to expect. Here's what's actually
Mhm.
going to happen.
Okay. So again, I'm going from the perspective of I was never very athletic. Again, in college, undergrad, I was in the gym and I was working out. So I
Okay.
knew how to work out. I knew how to make a plan. I knew basic nutrition. But it wasn't until I said, okay, let's what do I need to do to get ready for a show? So this is all the way back in, I would say like May 2020, when finally like kind of some of the gyms were opening back up in my area. When I was like, okay, so what do we need to do? And he said, right now we're going to spend time working on basic outline of muscle. Because I had a lot of muscle to put on. So 2020, the end of 2020, I was, trying to put muscle on, develop my glutes, develop hamstrings. I was lifting very heavy. I was trying to not necessarily, I don't say bulk because I don't consider bulk necessarily like the word I want to describe. I want to put muscle on. I want to put good muscle on, because I did ended up putting about 15 pounds of good body weight on because I was trying to eat as good as possible, as clean groups, which is my overall biggest stressor. If you don't take anything away from it, clean groups of food and paying attention to my nutrition is the biggest thing for me. Even now, like once we got to the point where okay, we've got this great foundation of muscle, and then January 1 of 2021, let's start our cut per se. And that's like my prep started down for my show, which was April 3rd. Yeah, like right before Easter. So then we went to the part of cutting it all down. And that was the part that I was trying to prepare myself mentally for, which was the most challenging, which is for everybody,
Mhm.
Um, and it was hard for me because I never considered myself that girl who, loses weight easily, can, be like that skinny hot girl. I'd always been a little bit thicker, a little curvier here, a little curvier there. That was my thing. And
Mhm.
so the challenge for me was seeing myself as I dropped the weight, as I, leaned out, as my conditioning like emphasized where my muscle groups I had built were, and I was just like amazed. Even like a month in, 2 months in, 3 months in, show day, I was like, wow, that's me. And I still can't believe, I look at pictures, I'm like, that's what I worked for, and that's that's how I got to this point. It's just like blows my mind still.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible because everyone has, a skeleton and muscles. It's just not everyone's gotten stage lean to be able to see at that level of conditioning, like what your physique has, like this potential. And I think this sport opens up this door of like, you can see the future almost. Like
Right.
whenever I get show day lean, like you're like, I did that. It's a connection between gym plus diet equals
Hmm.
this. And then you're like,
Absolutely.
okay, what else can I do? What else can I do? How can I push harder? How can I grow this?
Right.
When you realize like we can transform our physiques, it's really cool. So I really like how like you were just amazed at seeing yourself, because that's a really special feeling. And like
Oh
especially
yeah.
the first time too, because it's so rewarding once you get up on there. But were
Mhm.
you nervous to actually step your feet on the stage?
Like I said in the beginning, I've always been on stage. I did theater.
Okay.
I sing. I was in band. I always had been on the stage, even in undergraduate. My degree is actually in music performance. I'm a
Okay.
singer.
Okay.
So I was used to being on stage, performing, and that actually I pay a lot of credit to why I wasn't necessarily as nervous, because I was used to being on stage, wasn't used to being on stage with that little of clothing on.
Right.
Um, but I was used to being on stage with people looking at me, and I think that gave me an advantage point compared to some of the other novice that were there who maybe had never been on stage before, had eyes on them and eyes on them only.
Right.
So that part to me wasn't as nerve wracking as, okay, got to get on stage, got to nail this pose. That was, I mean, but that's normal. I think nerves for anybody. I mean, even when I sing, I get nerves a little bit. But as far as being on stage in presence with people, that part wasn't as nerve wracking.
How did your posing go? Did you think you were confident in your posing?
I loved my routine.
Mhm.
My coach was very much so. This was my first time posing. So when we got to the point where it's like, okay, beginning of the year, we're like, we got to learn posing. And I was like, okay. He's like, do you know anything about posing? I was like, no. So we started literally at square one. And he was very much so into how this feels for posing. Like we practice without mirrors even. So he's like,
Okay.
I want you to focus on how it feels, because on stage you don't have mirrors. You have
Yeah.
to focus on where you feel this and how you feel this. What do you feel flexed when you're, doing your back pose? What do you feel when you strike your front pose? And so we worked really hard on that for the first few weeks of learning the basics. That when we did bring mirrors in, he's like, okay, you need more bend here, or you need to flex a little bit more here. That I saw that, and I was able to still make the connection for when I took the mirrors back away towards the end of my prep. And I was like, okay, where do I feel this? Where do I need to do more of, so that I can make the connection? I don't have to rely on the visual. So I was very confident with my posing when I got to the stage, because I had put everything in my mind, like, I don't need mirrors to do this. I can base everything. How does this feel? What am I feeling for when I know that I'm in the position that's going to look the best?
Yeah. I mean, my cue is when it hurts, I know I'm in the right position.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell my posing clients, I was like, okay, when it's painful, you've hit it. When it's not
Right.
painful, you're not twisting hard enough. So I like when I'm quivering and I'm just like, oh, I just need a break. I'm like, that's it. That's the pose. That's exactly the position that you need to be in. But
Right.
when you were on stage, what was going through your mind, like for your first time as like you are actually doing your comparisons?
My comparisons, it was a relatively large um novice class when I did my comparisons. My coach was actually like, this is actually a really big group. So when we got to comparisons, because he had prepared me for it, and I think that's, what a lot of girls don't really get is that preparation, because I knew girls that I did comparisons with, and they had never they had never practiced comparison. They didn't know what to expect. And I was like, "Ah!" I was like, I've been practicing like walking to the line,
Yeah.
following the commands, and we had gone through that as part of my posing practice when we
Right.
rehearsed every week. So as far as comparisons went, I was in the zone. I was like, okay, just like we practiced, just listen for your cues. Just flex a little bit harder. Come on,
Mhm.
back band, let's go.
Mhm.
Um, but I tried not to pay attention to what everyone else did, because there was a very complicated command. It was, bring it to the back, and we'd already been turned towards the back. And so I think like three or four girls started walking backwards, and he actually just wanted to bring it back around.
Mhm.
So a lot of it for me was like, okay, let's tune these girls out. Let's just do my own thing, you know. And that's a lot of what you have to do in general for when you're in this sport. I think is, focus on you. It's all about what you're up against yourself, not what anybody else is thinking right there.
Yeah,
That's what I
absolutely.
tried to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think you're in the right headspace too. It sounds like you had a really good coach for your prep too. Like he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and I absolutely love it because a lot of first competitors don't get that luxury. A lot of first
Mhm,
competitors go through terrible, like bad coaching experiences who
mhm.
don't prepare them properly. So it's really
Right.
important that you find a good coach. When wait, how did you do actually? I'm curious. How did you place?
So I did 3 categories. I did true novice,
Okay.
I did novice height class B,
Okay.
and I did open class E. For I think for our shows like 5'6.5" to 5'7". I'm like
Okay.
right at 5'6" mark or something like that. 5'6.5" mark. So I actually placed first in all 3 categories. So I was very not shocked, but, like, I was very, like, awestruck, I guess, in the moment. Like, my videos are, like, I'm, like, cheesing, and I'm, like, trying not to move too quickly, but then it's like, "Okay, we're getting the lineups for awards, and I'm the only one left standing in the line." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I was very excited because I felt very good about how prejudging went, and my coach said, he's like, "I think you did well, but, we're not gonna say anything. We're gonna treat it just like we did for prejudging, because, until they call your name for your placing, you don't know. It
Yeah.
it could go either way," is
Mhm.
what he said. He's like, "You don't know anything until you get back up there, so don't lose your focus. Don't get off of your game just because you think prejudge went well.
Yeah.
We still gotta stay eyes on the prize, and, we still got night show to do. Basically, just do it all again."
Yeah. Yeah. So you're nationally qualified at your first show.
I am. I am.
That's super exciting. So that happened to me too. So it
Mhm.
happened to me and I freaked out because I was like, I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, I'm just doing this. And it's very unexpected to do well, especially in the beginning of your career. And it gets harder too, because
Right.
I think you set an expectation of first is your start. So you are like, I'm going to do first and first and first. And it's a process, but it sounds like you have a good head on your shoulders. And so you're going to take that time to build your muscles. Did you get feedback from the judges?
Yes. My feedback was pretty consistent for what my coach said. You don't know what you look like until on your show day. You don't know what you look like until you get there and
Yeah.
you're literally doing it. So
Mhm.
my coach said, okay, we can expect to know what we can work on for the future, but ultimately we don't know what we need to work on until we see what you look like for a show after you've done your whole prep.
Right.
So my biggest critiques from the judges were coming a little bit leaner, especially in the bottom, and they want to see more glute and hamstring development,
Hmm.
which is what, my coach ultimately, he said once he saw me on stage for prejudging and the show that night, he's like, we got to work on glutes. We got to come in a little bit tighter. And so we put those goals in mind for, what we're going for the next show and then into the future.
Yeah. That's it. It's my feedback every time. Glutes in hand. And I tell you, I swear to you, even at the highest level, I swear I hear pro athletes even are getting told, "You look amazing." And they're like, "Come in leaner." It's like, how? Where can I lose it? But
Right.
I guess it is possible. So that walks through COVID. Let's go back and step back with your fitness journey through COVID. Did you have access to gyms during the shutdowns?
So I'm trying to think, when did it start? So like March is when like we started shutting down.
Yeah.
And for context, I live in Alabama.
Okay.
So, even in the height of COVID, everyone was still walking around with their mask on, like down here or not at all. And, even though places say you cannot come in without a mask, when we're Alabama, you know, we're gonna do us and we're gonna do what we do. As far as gyms closing, I didn't have a gym from I think March to close to the May point is when I think the gym started opening back up. Um, and like everybody, we tried to stay as active we could. We mainly like walked the dogs. We did some home exercise videos. It couldn't it could be a little bit better, I do admit. So when we got back into the gym in May, it was like, okay, let's remember how to do this. Let's connect mind and get back into it. But we did have access to gyms once the state kind of started leaning things out. But you know, it could have been better, but at least it wasn't for longer because I know some places the gyms were closed for much, much longer.
Yeah. What keeps you motivated? So like on those hard days where your diet gets really bad, how are you able to stay motivated?
On days that like I'm struggling, I work at a hospital around in town, and I do 12-hour shifts. And at the end of my 12-hour shifts, sometimes I'm like, and now I have to go to do strength training, and then I have to go do my cardio, and then I have to go and eat dinner and shower and go to bed and do it all again.
Mhm.
So on some of those days, you're more tired than others, and you just gotta keep in mind that, what's my end goal and what do I want to accomplish? And again, it comes back to like in my comparison, it's like I gotta do what I gotta do. And even, if I'm having a bad day, or, maybe, we slip a piece of candy here or there, it's at the end of the day, let's not let, for lack of better words, don't let it all get to you. Don't let the shit get to you.
Yeah.
You gotta do you, and you gotta remember, okay, what do I need to do, even if, things knock you down? What do I need to do to get back on track? I mean, if it's like in general for life though, you can't let every little thing get on you. Because if you do that, then you're never gonna make it. Everyone has bad moments, bad days, bad weeks. I mean, everyone's had a bad year, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but if you focus on the little things that keep you down, you're never gonna see anything change or get better.
Right. I like that. I think you're gonna do really well in the sport, personally. Um, just
Yeah.
just your attitude. I absolutely love that so much. It's really inspiring too, especially doing it at a young age and like starting so young and like for your health and like your future, having those healthy habits, regardless of how long you stay in this sport or if you continue to do it forever, is gonna set you up in life just to be on a different playing field than your average person. And I think that's what sets us bodybuilders apart, even though there's stereotypes of, what I'm a bikini athlete. And have you had to kind of explain what you're doing to friends and family? And did they understand what you were doing? How did that conversations look like?
Yeah, this is, I guess everyone understands this, I mean, I told my parents, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a bikini contest." And they're like, okay, cool."
Okay.
And then they're like, You go to the gym a lot." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I do. We're working on my fitness." And then they saw the evolution of me losing, cutting down, leaning out, and they're like, "Wow, you look good." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're very supportive. My parents, they're like, "Oh, you want to go to dinner?" I'm like, "No, I can't. I'm sorry. I got to eat my vegetables."
Right.
Or that the hardest part is like seeing other people, like coworkers and friends, Um, and I didn't put one and two together, and realizing how many things now are so oriented around food and going out and drinking at, at our age. And I'm just like, oh man. I think the very beginning of my prep, my friends invited me to go to dinner in January, I think it was. So that was right at the beginning of my prep, and I was, staying on the ball, staying on focus. And I'd eaten, a little bit of prep before, and I think I got like a side salad with no dressing and just some veggies and some water. And my friends were eating burgers and chips and onion rings, and they're just sitting there looking at me. And I'm like, no, guys, I'm good. Y'all eat. It's good. It's good. So I'm eating there. And I made them feel worse about themselves
I
for eating a
know.
salad and drinking
Uh,
water. And I was like,
uh,
no, guys, it's fine. You guys eat. And they're like, no, I just feel so horrible for you. And I'm like, this is my choice.
I
Like, no one's
know.
holding a gun to my head saying I got to, like, you have to eat this piece of salad right now.
I know.
And I was like, this is my choice. Like, I want to do this. And
Right.
so it kind of is hard to explain to them, like, it's you can eat whatever you want. And I mean, I might be a little sad, and I might be like, can I smell that real quick before you
Mhm.
eat it?
Mhm.
But this is my choice, and I want to do this. I want to eat my veggies. I want to eat my chicken or my piece of fish. It's okay. And explaining to them, like, no, sorry, we can go after I go to the gym, or hey, I'll meet up with you, or I'm going to go to the gym first, but then I'll see you after, or no, I can't go. Got to meet with my trainer. As far as that goes, that's also just, time management. And my friends are really supportive, like very understanding. I'm like, hey, I'm going to ghost you real quick for a month, especially towards the end of prep. And I was just so tired, and was just very much so like, we got to stay in the zone. We got to focus on the prize. I didn't want any temptations around me. And I was like, nope, we can't. Nope, we can't. Like, I was like, got to keep it on focus. Got to stay eyes on the prize.
Yeah. I think it's hard. It's something that all people have to um kind of go through with their friends and family, because you're changing and you're not asking them to change. And it's really hard because it's somehow what we eat starts to, other people get really concerned about it. They
Hmm.
start to, I guess it makes them feel insecure in some roundabout way. You making a healthier decision makes
Right.
them feel some type of way. So sometimes they might push food, or just have a pizza, just have a bite. You look fine. You
Yeah.
don't need to go to the gym, but it's
Oh yeah.
not like it's a personal choice. And again, I don't care what anyone eats. I don't even care what I eat. I know I'm
Hmm.
eating my meal prep. It's just,
Right.
that's what we're doing. But it's
And in that same, what you were saying on that same thing is, people are like, oh, well, just eat a pizza. Oh, just eat that. It's just like they feel bad about eating the bad stuff. At the same time, you know, I was also, not even realizing that I was inspiring my parents to eat better. My parents started eating better. My dad's actually lost like 30 pounds this year because, he's like, well, what can I do, to do up my exercise game, or, I'll eat a little bit better. And my mom's like, oh, well, let's eat some of that. That prep looks good. Let's eat that for dinner instead. And even my friends will message me and be like, oh my God, you're so inspiring. Or, comment on my swipe up on my Snapchat story when I post from the gym. And they're like, oh my God, I just went to the gym too. Thank you for reminding me to go. And so, in the same time, people say, "Oh, I feel so bad," or "Why are you eating that? You're making me feel bad about myself for eating my hamburger." At the same time, you can motivate and inspire people to make little changes in their life. I'm not saying everybody's got to go and be a bodybuilder or go do bikini contests, but overall, it's about, those little things that inspire other people to make healthier choices. And, that's what feels really good to me.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that's kind of keeps me in the sport too, because you don't realize how many people might be affected by you making a healthy decision. You don't realize who's watching you in the gym every single week.
Right.
Like you might see a girl next to you pushing really hard, and that might inspire you. Hey, I want to push hard. This girl's repping it out. I want to kill it. It's like you have no idea how far your impact can go in the sport, especially through things like social media, things like this podcast, like
Hmm.
giving people a platform. Like we can just explode. That's my goal in life, is to explode fitness as this tool to become like this ultimate superhero version of yourself, because that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like when I prep. And that's
Right.
what it's addicting. I mean, yes, there's hard days, right? There's days I don't want to diet. There's days I don't want to go to the gym and I'm tired. And yes, but there's days where I feel awesome. Like when you're drinking your water, you hit a PR, you did your cardio, you checked all your lists, you got your boxes, and then you dropped weight and you see a new muscle and you're like, I did that. I worked hard and this happened. So it's really exciting. But when talking about hard days, what were your hardest moments? And do you ever feel like giving up during the journey? Was there any things that you were like, I can't do this anymore? I don't think I'm going to be ready. Was there any doubts in your
Mm.
mind?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What was it? I'm trying to, there are moments I guess everyone struggles with, like, seeing scale plateau. There were weeks where I didn't see numbers change, or I was discouraged by, oh, I'm exhausted and I had, maybe not the best workout because, I was tired, or, I had a carb cut that week and, I was just not feeling the energy to keep going. I was like, man, this sucks. But I gotta keep my eye on the prize.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck for a little bit. It's only gonna suck for just a little bit. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta remember, like, okay, I want ice cream.
Yeah.
Well, ice cream's not gonna vanish off the face of the planet
Mhm.
tomorrow. Ice cream's gonna be there after prep is done.
Yeah.
So you gotta remember that this is a short term thing, is being on my prep, watching, every single little bit of food I put into me. It's only for a little bit. The junk's gonna be there. That was the weirdest part. People thought I was like probably a crackhead and be like, "Can I just smell that real quick? Just like
I
smell
know.
like a piece
But
of bread or
oh
some chocolate."
God. You
I'm
you're
like over here, like, "Can I smell that?"
and it's like you have like pregnancy sense or whatever. Like
Yes.
your cravings are weird. Your food choices are
Mhm.
weird. And then you smell
Mhm.
things and it's like an intoxicating smell. You're like, just a hit, just another little,
Just like,
oh,
yeah.
just a little whiff and I'm good.
Yeah, no, that was definitely me, and I was like, "Can I just sniff that real quick?" And it was again, like you said, the strangest things. Like, someone had very to the very end of my prep, it was like I think 3 weeks from my show, someone opened a bag of like granola,
Mhm.
and I was like, "What is that?" And I was just like, "Give me that here real quick." And just like, I don't even like granola. It's just like the sensation of, like, I guess the salty and the sweet, because it's like you crave the sweet, you want the salty. It's like those things that are combined, and you're just like, "Oh my god, I smell you all the way over there. Just come here real quick." Just like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what's up?" Um, but on the hard, the I think the worst day was like the week of my show, and I was so tired, and it was right before I got carbs put back in my diet, and I went to work that day. I was so tired. I was drinking all this water. I finished my workout and I laid on the bed after I had my dinner. And I got in the bed and I was like, I'm so hungry. That
Mhm.
was the first time I just sat there and was just like, I'm hungry, but we're almost there. And it was literally like the Tuesday before my show. I was like, we're almost there.
Mhm.
It's almost there. We're almost there.
Mhm.
And I was like, I can't even drink any more water because I've hit the water that I need to drink today. I just need to go to bed. And I was like, just go to bed. Don't think about anything else. And then the next day, I got my oatmeal because we were carving back up. And I was like, oh, I missed you. And my
Yes.
boyfriend makes fun of me because it was the plainest bowl of oatmeal, like nothing in it, just water. And I was like, this is the most delicious
No,
thing I've ever eaten on the face of the
I
earth.
know. And I try to
And he's
get
like, it needs sugar. And I'm
no.
like, no, no, it doesn't. We
So
need more.
I have a weird thing with when I prep, I crave oatmeal and it doesn't have to be anything. It's like oatmeal with maybe like a little bit of cinnamon or something. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh gosh. And I'll tell my boyfriend and I'll be like, this is so good. I need you to try it. Oh, this is so good. I need you to try it. I was like,
Right.
and he's like, I don't want that. I'm like, what do you mean you
Hmm.
don't want that? I want you to have the same feelings that I have towards this bowl of carbs. And you
Yes.
you become like a carb monster. Like I swear to you, I was dreaming about carbs. When my carbs were low, I was like, oh my gosh, I need it. I am a carb crackhead.
Right.
I need it. And you try to be good, but it's like physically your body is trying to fight you because they're like, we're slowly dying. You need to eat. And you're like,
We're slowly on the verge of death.
let's keep pushing another
Right.
round of cardio and
Oh,
let's
yeah.
not eat anything. So it does get hard, but like you said, it does pay off in a short little while, 12-ish weeks, it's not that short, but how has that affected time? So how do you think time now? Because now you've experienced something like planning and how
Mm-hmm.
fast a 12-week prep can go. Has
Right.
that changed anything for you?
Well, it was like beginning of the year, January. Okay, we got 12 weeks until my show. 12 weeks, in the grand scheme of things sounds like such a long time,
It
especially like how
does.
slow COVID time was moving.
Yeah.
Because like COVID time was like very like snail pace. Like it felt like last year felt like 2020 felt like it was 5 years put together. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it went by so slowly. But then my 12-week prep, it feel like it like looking back now, it zoomed. Like I was like so quick, and the amount of time I had and the drastic changes that I saw in my physique overall was amazing. I was like, dang, it didn't feel like, it didn't feel like it was feasible to make that much change in that amount of time. But I was like, okay, well, now it's like, okay, the next show's in like, I think it's 8 weeks from yesterday. So it's like, okay, let's block out this block of time. How fast will this one go now? So it's kind of like it puts you on like a very linear point of view, and it's looking back on it, I'm just like, wow, we did that and that happened. Because there were people, in who towards the end of my prep, they're like, wow, I didn't think you could do it in that amount of time. And I was like, well, thank you, haters. You
I
know,
know.
where I have this, what was it? I think I can't remember this quote that I found. It was like, don't do it for, do it for yourself, do it for the people around you who are cheering you on. But at the end of the day, when you win, remember the haters who said you couldn't do it,
Mm-hmm.
because those are the ones who are going to be most struck by your triumphs and your victories. And I remember that. I was like, take that, suckers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because those are the same people who will watch all your videos. They'll
Hmm.
not even like them, but they'll like you
Hmm.
see them watching your stories, you see them following your journey, and they're
Right.
very interested in it. But at the same time, they're the same ones. Oh, she didn't look that good. She got
Yeah.
fur. She didn't look that
Yeah.
good. Oh yeah, but it's more to say about them than you, because on this journey, like, it really does like level you up, like, mindset wise, and being able to put your blinders on. What are your goals outside of this sport? Like, in your personal life, what do you have goals?
Personal life, goodness gracious, I'm just on blast here.
I know. Yeah.
So right now I'm actually looking at going back to school. I've been out of school for a little bit. I'm looking to go and get my MBA. So hopefully, like in the fall, I'm going to go back and do that. I'm going to go for concentration with healthcare administration, because it's kind of sort of what I do right now is I work more on the clerical side of hospital work, on the unit, and I want to kind of take that the next step further and kind of see where I can help, mainstream hospital processing and everything. I've want to possibly go to med school after that.
Oh, cool.
But I'm kind of COVID's kind of like again put this whole perspective on, time for me. Again,
Right.
2020 felt like 5 years. So it's kind of like, okay, well, if the world's still not fully together by the end of 2021, which I don't think it will be, we're all trying to still get in this groove. So I'm just kind of like, you know what, let's go back to school, let's educate ourselves a little bit more and kind of see where it goes. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm very much so like, the world's not going to go back to any sense of normal anytime soon. So, why not take this opportunity that I have to stay educated, make new connections, open new doors if I can.
Mhm.
Because I mean, why not?
Yeah. And then you briefly mentioned your boyfriend too. So is he a competitor?
No, he is not a competitor.
How's that?
It's honestly, I think I'm very fortunate to have someone who is so supportive,
Okay.
even literally in my worst moments. I remember times where I would get off of work and I would be like, I'd call him and be like, I don't want to go to the gym. I've had such an awful day. I'm so hungry. Like I hate everyone. I would literally, I felt so bad about it. Looking back and in those moments, I was like, I probably yelled at him so many times on the phone when I was hungry and tired and carb depleted, and he just took it. And I would hang up the phone and like not even say goodbye or anything. I would just, do my sets, do my workout. And then at the end of the workout, when I like have my protein shake or have my dinner and drink some water and get the, frustration of the gym out and be like, I should probably say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
It
like
happens.
through all of that, he was just like, this is not Janie talking. This is the angry carb monster who's very hungry talking and very tired. And I think like I mean probably any other boyfriend would have broken up with me 6 times over, but I mean he's just been beside me and been so supportive, and I honestly could not ask anything more of him because I've probably have been awful in very many moments.
Yeah, it happens. And I'll tell you, I've done 6 shows, and every time I step on stage, I have this like realization moment of like everything I said when I was hungry. And it's almost like you black it out when you're prepping because you're like, it didn't come off bad. It's fine. And then you get those carbs, and then like your adrenaline starts to wear down, and you're like, I was really a big ass bitch. And he took it. He took it all. Snap at you. Why
Hmm.
did you mess with my meal prep, or did you eat my chicken? I bought chicken and that was my chicken, or I don't even
Right.
know. I mean, you just
Yeah.
start fighting over random stuff, and you're like,
Oh
it's
no,
just,
it's literally every little, oh, you breathe wrong. It's like, oh my
yeah,
God, can you breathe any louder? Something
yeah,
like that. No, it again, he's like literally the most patient person on the face of the earth to be dealing with all the hangry moments that he had to deal with. I'm like,
mhm.
ah. But I think that's with anyone around you, you just gotta, because I'm sure I was mean to other people too. It's like I'm looking back and I'm just like, dang, probably
Yeah,
snapped at my parents or my
yeah,
sister or people around me, and I'm just like, oh my God, they
yeah.
think I'm this horrible person. But I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not actually me, it's the
It's
angry
not.
me.
So I found out my boyfriend and like my mom would like talk about me, like, but when I was either with them or like not there, they'd be like, how much longer she got? Like, like my mom would like tell my boyfriend, like, are you gonna be okay? Like, I know that Savannah's prepping again. We know that she's gonna be low carb. And so
Right.
it was kind of funny that they all knew I wasn't like myself anymore.
Hmm.
And at a certain point, you're not. You're just like carbs, water, train, work, sleep, bye. Like
Yeah.
show days coming, and you wake up and your eyes are like, okay, I gotta train, I gotta get this many steps in, I got this, my macros are this, and then your brain like physically can't hold any more information because like you don't have energy
All
to like
right.
your brain is like, we can only think so hard. So use this,
Yes.
use this energy wisely. Um,
Right.
but like I do want to give you the floor to kind of motivate some friends or other competitors. So going back to a first time competitor, what is your advice to someone who wants to start a fitness journey?
Starting a fitness journey, literally, it doesn't have to, again, like I'm out here saying, not everybody has to go and, go get on stage, go be a bodybuilder, go be a bikini athlete. It's whatever you want to do to start. Like everyone starts somewhere. I did not start where I am right now. Like I actually went to the gym today with a friend who hasn't been in the gym in like 5 years. So she was like, hey, I come to the gym with you? You can show me some stuff. I haven't been in the gym in a while. I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're not going to be doing what I'm doing, and I'm not going to do what you're do. But if you want that person to be there and, motivate you and you motivate me, let's go, girl. Like I'm all for uplifting someone else if you want to start somewhere. And again, you don't have to go and be on the stage and be bodybuilder. You can start, walking. You can go to the gym. I loved Zumba when I was first starting out, like in college. I loved taking exercise classes, something fun, It exercise and, getting on a fitness journey, it shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. Because I truly love the gym and I love working out. And it's very motivating for myself once I finish at the gym and I can say, I want that for other people. I want you to be inspired so that you want that for yourself. You want that feeling of, wow, I did this, at whatever level you want to do this, whatever goals you have set out for yourself. I think, I want to see other people do that for themselves. It's all for you at the end of the day. I
Mm.
can say, oh, I want to look hot girl summer so I can be cute with my friends in my bathing suit. But at the end of the day, you're still looking hot girl summer for yourself.
Right. And for your fitness journey, if you could, knowing what you do know now after doing your first show, I want you to tell what your conversation would be if you can go time travel and tell yourself what advice would you give before you had started everything.
Believe in yourself and in the process, because you're going to be tired. You're going to not see changes that you want to see like right away. It's going to be hard. It's really going to be hard, but you have to trust yourself at the end of the day. That again, remember that why you want to do this. Remember that this is for me. This is about making myself feel better, and that we got to trust that everything that we're doing is going to get us to where we want to be. It's not like this. It's like, we're only we can only go up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm literally super excited to like follow your journey too. I think you're gonna do so well in the sport. Like you have such a great coach. Or I can already tell like your coach knows what he's doing. You have like such a positive attitude and like you've already seen success really early. So it's gonna continue from there. You might hit a few bad placings because that's gonna happen. You might hit a good couple. You never know. But I have an important question to ask you too. So are you team cupcake or are you team protein shake?
Team Cupcake.
That's my girl.
Yes.
All right. And I need you to vividly describe yourself if you could have like the perfect cupcake or like if you were a cupcake, either one.
This is hard.
I know. I know.
I am my boyfriend tells me, he's like, you are such a foodie. Like, like exactly what you want and like what you like don't want. And like I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking, hang on. First of all, like I actually did work in a bakery, for
Okay.
3 years in college. So it was like, I'm very much so like bougie taste buds when it comes to sweets. But if I had to pick my cupcake, it's gonna be a vanilla cupcake with a caramel cream cheese icing. I love icing so much. I don't
Oh,
understand
yeah.
people who don't like icing.
Oh, yeah. The people
People
that
who
like
like get the
scrape it
cupcake
off.
and scrape it off. I'm like, who are you? I will eat that
Yes.
happily.
Thank you.
Like oh my gosh, the icing is to me like one of the best parts. Like a cupcake with like a good mountain of ice cream icing is like the goal, is like the dream. And caramel icing with like cream cheese and
Oh, wow. Did you have a post-show meal or a post-show treats?
I did. And gosh, oh my it was
Regrets?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we I did the show. I did my first show with a teammate. One of my trainer's other girls competed in her first show as well, and I had to go on stage for the overalls because I won my height class, and she had already come off stage, so she was already grubbing backstage. And as soon as I get off from doing the overalls, she hands me a cookie. And she's like, "Here you go, girl." And I'm like, "Thanks." And she's just like throwing all this candy and all this stuff at me. And I'm like, "We got to take pictures and then we're going to go out to eat." So, she threw some candy at me, some cookie, a donut. And we got to the restaurant. She's like, "We're going to order this and this and this." And, I got spinach artichoke dip, and we ate a whole loaf of bread each. And I had a root beer and some cheese wedges. And by the time my burger got out, I think I took 2 bites and I was like, no. And I literally just kind of like laid there in the booth and I was like, no, no more. And all I wanted to do was get to the hotel and take a shower and go to sleep. And I was literally like we got through the hotel door and I was already just like to take my clothes off and I was just like, get in the shower. Just I can't. Like I was like just shower. I was like, oh no. It was so gross.
What about your tan? What was that experience like? Getting your first nice orange, like brown, I don't even know what color tan.
Yeah, no. I had never had a spray tan before in my life. And I knew what to expect because I was like, I did my research. I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna be naked and I know I'm gonna, know
Yeah.
not to do this, that, and the other. So I was like, I did my prep and I was like, okay, let's go. So I got in there and I still like I tried to listen to the lady. She was like, okay, butt up. And I'm like, what? She's like, stick your butt out so we can get your like, under your booty. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, and I was like, I'm sorry, I've never done this before. And I was like, literally, like, probably looked so uncomfortable doing it. And then that next morning, actually, before we had to go and do the athletes meeting, I almost didn't get my second tan because they started packing up the booth because I was not aggressive enough to go in and say, hey, I need to get my tan. I just kind of stood outside waiting the booth and they were like, okay, we're done. I'm like, no, wait, I have to get mine still. Please don't go. So I was actually late to the athlete meeting because I was the last person legit to get my spray on. And then I had to get another coat because they said it wasn't dark enough.
Mm-hmm. It's awkward. It's super awkward too. No matter what, it's cold and you're
Yeah.
freezing. There's no body, you have no body fat, and they have to have it cold so your tan doesn't like drip off of you. It's just awkward. No matter what, the tanning is the most awkward. And the color is just like so dark.
Yeah, I was not ready.
Yeah. I don't think you'll ever be ready. And like even now, like once you it's just like being a normal skin tone and then being a competitor color, it's still to this day, it is too much. It's like
It shook
so
me. It
dark.
it was very shaking. And then it was like the next day was Easter Sunday,
Oh gosh.
and we went to church, and I was carrot colored,
Yeah.
and I was just like, "Hi," except my face didn't really have any tan on it because I didn't want a whole bunch of tan on it, but I was like, the rest of me was just like,
Yeah.
"Hi."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
And
awkward.
actually, I had a really bad allergic reaction to the tan. So I had like
Really?
had a rash by the night show. So like my whole backside, I had like this red breakout, and sadly you can see it in my pictures from the final show. It's like this bad reaction, and I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "Can you just touch this up?" They're like, "No, your skin's breaking out." I'm like, "Great." And then the next week, I dealt with my face still oozing tan and makeup from out of my pores, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I just like,
It's like in your ears, it's in your nostrils, like it's in every crack behind your like every crease. It just
yeah,
does not come off. And it looks like you have a skin rash disease and it starts to like
yeah.
flake off and you're like, what is
What
happening
is
right
happening?
now?
And it
But
won't even be like all at once, but it's just like, okay, today nothing happened. And then tomorrow it's like, oh my gosh.
yeah. Well, you experienced it all. Is there anything that we didn't get to cover about your fitness journey that you wanted to?
I feel like we covered all the big parts of it. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Any cringy stories that you have or
Cringy stories.
fun
Goodness gracious.
stories during your prep?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like what?
Did you have any like prep brain moments of doing forgetful things or
Constantly.
yeah?
Constantly. I mean, like prep brain is just like we got to the point where when my carbs were, so low, and it was just I would say one thing, 20 seconds later, what was I talking about? And what were we doing? And why was I doing this? Or how did we get here? That was my favorite part. It was like, how did I get here? We like walking somewhere, be like, how did I get here? Or what am I supposed to do again? It's like
Mhm.
my prep brain was just foggy and forgetful. And if it hadn't been for like coffee as my saving grace, I don't think I would have accomplished half the things I needed to do in one day.
Mhm.
Because I was so just exhausted, and I was tired. And if I didn't get like at least 8 hours of sleep at night, I couldn't function the next day. I would be like, oh no, we can't do this. It's
Mhm.
like tap out, tap out.
What did your macros and carbs get to? Like what was your lowest when you prepped on them?
My lowest, um, I was around my protein was my coach is very oriented on like the macros figure everything out for you, and he's very much so like protein was the biggest component. We did get to the point where I wasn't eating, I cut oatmeal, I cut sweet potatoes, I cut like the very carb dense, but I was always eating, vegetables. Like he's very much so like we need to get a vegetable in with every meal. So I was putting, veggies in my eggs. I was eating, you know, spinach and literally everything. Me and spinach, we're tight, man. We're BFFs. My protein was typically about 140 grams, I think, and carbs varied as we cut down. Like, I think they started at like 80, but like we worked our way almost all the way down to where, like, right before we got rid of my big carb groups, like my lowest was like 20 grams of carbs, and it would be like my oatmeal in the morning. But beyond that, like, it wasn't it wasn't too bad actually when we got to that point where it was like, okay, oatmeal has to go, and it's like, okay, because I love green veggies, and that was what we focused on because they're so like good for you. And again, it comes back to my coach is very much so like can't neglect the nutrients in food. You know, we can eat fish and eggs and chicken all we want, but like we gotta pay attention to the nutrition dense stuff like the green veggies especially. And that was honestly my saving grace is green vegetables.
Yeah,
Avocados all the way.
oh, yuck. I hate avocados.
I love them.
I'm such a picky eater for prep. Like,
Ooh.
yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I don't like tomatoes. I don't like certain vegetables. I don't like broccoli anymore, really. I don't like Brussels sprouts. I eat spinach and green beans and asparagus and rotate those with iceberg lettuce, really.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like iceberg lettuce. I am very much so a mixed green, spring green, spinach person
Yeah.
just because iceberg lettuce tastes like water to me. I'm just like, it's just not as satisfying.
It's crunchy water.
Yeah, it's crunchy water, and I'm just like, why am I gonna waste my time with this? Like, let's get to the real stuff. Like, if you get a salad at a restaurant and it says it comes with iceberg, I will say no. I would need spinach or I need mixed greens because I'm that person. I'm like, don't bring me iceberg lettuce. Like, we will fight.
All
It's a
the
waste of
way.
my time.
So, okay, what shows are you doing next? How many weeks out are you?
We're 8 weeks. To yesterday was 8 weeks. And it's gonna be Battle of the Gulf Coast, which will be in Biloxi, Mississippi, and then we're looking at possibly another show in July in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, but I'm not sure on that one yet. And then I say to myself, I want to do, you know, just for fun, the Alabama State Championships, but I still don't think I'm ready for that since it's still my first season. So I might just forego that one and push it to maybe next year when I have a little bit more gains in me because it was my first season. I do need to work on, you know, building a little bit more muscle. I need to come in a little bit leaner, you know, in the future, and that's going to come from me having a really good off season where I can put some more muscle on ultimately.
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna do so good. So I don't know. I was like, because I think I'm 11 weeks out now, plus another show. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of like in the start of my season. So this will be the first show of 2021. It's always
Hmm.
hard for the first show of the season, like, but it's the most exciting one. I feel like I get the most excited for the first one, and then the next one, it's like that one you have to figure out how you do with the first one, and
Right.
then it just kind of like re-sparks it. So I'm getting really excited to start prepping too. So I was really excited that you got to come on here, and thank you for taking time and sharing your story. Like, you have such an amazing story, and I can't wait to see how many people that you inspire and to see like where your fitness journey goes from like now to like a few years from now, to hopefully see you on that national stage strutting it with all your gains. So I just can't wait. And before we sign off, give us your name, your handles, where to follow you, and stuff like that.
Okay. My name is Janie Chow, and again, you can follow me on Instagram. It's going to be no underscore plain with an E underscore Jane. No plain Jane. That's like my tagline. All together. You know.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming on to the podcast. That wraps us up at about an hour. So I'm going to pause the pause. Thank you guys for listening to the 51st episode of Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. I can't believe we're almost to a year. I just want to give you guys a little update on my prep in case you're curious. Stick around. I am currently recording this at 11 weeks out, I'm pretty sure. So we have 11 more weeks until the Patriots Challenge, which as of now is still going to be held in Las Vegas, Nevada. But I did get wind now, if you're competing at USA's, there was a location change. It will no longer be in Vegas. It will now be in Phoenix, Arizona. So I do plan on doing USA's if I can get top 5. Fingers crossed at the regional show at the Patriots Challenge, which is my goal. So that's what we're working towards right now. Cardio is really, really, really high. So I'm really tired this week. I'm really hungry this week. My calories have not dropped, but my cardio did increase. So my step count's a lot higher. I'm trying to hit 10,000 steps plus 25 minutes of cardio every single day. So it's a lot to do that because I normally sit down all day, but I am enjoying this prep. I think we're going to see a lot of progress here pretty soon. I feel like I'm getting leaner. I feel like I'm starting to get shredded, but we still have a long ways to go. So I'm excited for you guys to stay on this journey with me. I know it's been a long one if you're sticking around here. Just know I love you so much. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Savannah Sharp Fitness. You can follow my online posing, coaching, and training page. It is at team_sharp_fitness. That is my new team page. If you'd like to join for posing or just like online lifestyle or fitness, I would love to take you on as a client. And then also don't forget, I work at Angel Competition Bikinis as your suit specialist. So for any different competition bikinis that you need for the 2021 or even 2022 competition season, go ahead and check the description box for my Calendly link, and you can book a free consultation to talk about your suit, such as cut, color, design for Angel Competition Bikinis. I'd love to help you find your dream suit. Don't forget to use my discount code at Angel Competition Bikinis. That is Savannah S. You're going to receive 10% off of every single purchase plus a free gift from me to you. And then also I have a discount code for Steel Fit. That is my supplement place for pre-workouts, protein powders, and more. That is going to be Savannah S as well. And this past weekend, I was privileged enough to get to do a posing session. I got to host my first posing session or posing clinic with a couple of my competitor friends, and it was amazing. So thank you for the girls that came out to that. It was awesome just to kind of start working with competitors, and doing posing is something that I love. I absolutely love posing. It's one of my favorite things. Recently, I've been practicing my posing. This 2021 season has completely evolved. It's completely different. I'm working with Sean Hector Lewis as my posing coach. So Sean's Couture Cuties. She's really helped me add some extra sass and really want to create a pro level routine. And I just wanted to give you guys a little update. So I think I'm probably going to end up doing a solo podcast for our 52nd podcast, because I literally feel like I could tell you guys everything, because there's so much that I haven't updated you guys on that happens. And this prep is just moving so fast. So I love you guys. Head over to YouTube if you want to see some bikini prep vlogs as well. And I will see you next Wednesday for another episode of Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. Happy prepping. Bye.